Welcome back, guys, to the part 2 of welding my floorboards. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be finishing up what I've started in the previous video. But before I do anything, the first thing I want to do is actually wire wheel everything right here, just so it makes things easier to paint and as well welding. So for example, like all those black spots I want to get rid of, so welding is going to be much easier. But before I do any welding, first thing I actually want to do is remove my dashboard, since I don't want it to get melted. There's only like a couple of screws holding it in, and it should be out. And as you can see here, the dashboard is completely out. Now, although I didn't really have to remove this, I did actually want to remove this for two reasons. One is because there's this little brace here that connects this bar right here to the exhaust tunnel. Now, I'm not sure whether this actually does anything or is just there for support, but what I do want to do is actually take this bar out and completely redo it, making it into a dom tube, as well as making another one right here and connecting it to here. I'm not sure if that's going to do anything, but since it's pretty easy to do, why not? There's also this bar right here that connects to the firewall, which is gonna do something since it prevents the firewall from flexing as much, as well as this one right here, but I'll have to do some renovation to this part right here. Now that everything is out, I can actually start wire wheeling everything and preparing everything for welding. Alright, so it might be actually crazy. So I've gone ahead and removed the entire dash, even the steering wheel. It is right there. Well, Jesus did take my wheel actually. Alright, so here's the first pass that I've marked with Sharpie markers where I need to weld, 1 inch apart all the way through each corners. Let's weld it, and then I can transfer the same pattern to this one and this seam sealer right here. So I have began using the wire wheel to clean all of these spots to where I'll be welding, just removing all paint, any residue, anything, so my welds are clean, including all along here, pretty much gone around these two floorboards. So the bench and these two floorboards. This one I'm not going to touch so far since, well, there's a bunch of wiring in the way. And here we can see I finished welding one seam all the way around that way and all the way around that one right here. I just want to start on this welding here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stagger. So how I welded this one here, I'm not going to weld at the exact same point, I'm going to weld around right here. Alright, so now as you can see, I've welded the bottom side, now the middle side. Now it is starting to rain, so I will have to stop welding. But as you can see, I've gone ahead and gone all the way over here. Same thing on the other side. As you can see, I've welded 1 inch. 1 inch apart, then weld it again, and going to do the whole thing to this entire floor. Now I just have to weld this seam right here, and then I can move on to welding this floor right here. Now this one was definitely much easier to weld than the bottom side, since seam sealer was no issue to get rid of, versus this one side right here. Some spots are like really hard to just get it all out. But so far, since it's raining, I will start working on this wiring harness, simplifying it and cutting it up. So here's a quick little update. I've already labeled every little plug that I need to keep, and everything that I don't need to keep, I'll be removing completely. Also, I want to move all of this big mess to that side since there's nothing there. It will just make sorting and fixing things much more easier. Alright, so I've been working more, and as you can see, I've separated all this loom right here. This loom right here that connects to that firewall right there. Next thing what I'm going to do is, once it stops raining, I'll go the outside and pull all this loom out so I can fix it and remove anything that I don't need, which is a lot. It's pretty much all these plugs I can remove. Alright, and as you can see, I've finished welding this portion right here, and pretty much this bench is finished welding. Now I just want to clean everything up, like all the spatters that I need, vacuum it up, wash it with some soapy water to get rid of any grease, oil, stuff like that, and then paint it black. And then this portion is going to be complete. The other thing I also done is I've made these 4 plates, which will cover these holes right here on each floor right there. I'm not sure really why they even were there, but it doesn't hurt, so I'll just tack these in. That's the other thing. The next step is to, well, yeah, pretty much paint this, and also I want to start welding all of these seams back here, and same thing on this floor right here, and then so I can paint it like I did the bench. Alright, so all the floorboards are welded, the left side and the right side as well. Now I just taped off the bench of where I don't want to get paint, like some of the sealer on there, like the outside the door sills and stuff like that. Now I can just grab my paintbrush and start painting this whole thing black. Alright, so as you can see, I've taped off the line and I've painted this bench black all until the bottom sill. Since I'm still working on the wiring, I don't really want to bangle these floors just yet, but I will do a second layer here and then I can reinstall the seat bench, which is really good. The second part is I've sorted this loom right here. I've removed anything that I don't need. I've taped up everything that I do need, separated each wire into different sections just to make routing much more easier. Then I just have to sort all that. And as you can see, the seat is painted and the seat is installed in. As far as I can have now set all my tools on the bench. I've also been working completely on this wiring. I'm like 70% done. I'm starting to make the brackets of where every computer is supposed to go, and also install this dashboard so I can make a little bracket for the brake pedal so it doesn't flex as much. But other than that, I'll be working more on the shoot, what is it called, the the plate for all the ECUs, and also that plate back there, and also trying to finish off all of this. So I am finished with wiring all the wiring, separating it and labeling it to where I need it to be. So what I've started is putting the ECUs back in their position of where I want them to be. So for example, this is the fuel ECU. Well, actually that's the resistor, and this is for the power. Now as you can see, right next to it is the ground. So if I do need to check it, it's right there, and that's what I'm gonna do all the way on this wall, and pretty much it. I'm also gonna take away the headliner and remove all of those wiring as well, since I'm not using any of the lights. And here, as we can see, this is my headliner. I'm going to be removing all this wiring right here. All of this wiring is pretty much just for the lights, and that's it, since I don't really need it. So I'll just be removing it, simplifying my engine harness that much more. Now as you can see, wiring is still a mess, but I've been giving all the ECUs at home. I've also gotten rid of the last part of sound insulation, and as well install the seat back. Now with this seat, I've measured and finished up my steering wheel. I as well removed everything up here so I can paint it, modify it, make it look nice and whatever. Next, I'm just going to be finishing off the bar, and I have as well, oops, you can't see, I as well removed my headliner. And since the majority of you on my Instagram did say to completely remove it, I will. The only thing left really is get a spot drill bit and remove all of these pieces. So this one back there, these two back there, some back there, and just to make the roof much more appealing. But other than that, I will still be working out the wiring and painting everything here. Now what you see here is the dash completely installed. Well, not completely, it's only held on by a few bolts, but that's not the reason. The reason is so I can figure out where these two junction boxes can go and whether anything will interfere with them. Now that I know that anything that's on the opposite side of the dash bar will not interfere with anything. But I still need to know where the fuse box will go. I do definitely want to put it right behind the navigation system, which I think it will be a really nice spot to put it. Instead of it being all the way in the full well, I would love to put it so the fuses are facing me and not downwards, but I'm not really sure if there's a good way to do it without removing this piece right here. I mean, I definitely could, and it will look, well, like I said, they will look pretty nice, but do I want to risk my radio for a fuse box? That's the real question. Now, what you can see here is I've painted this rear floor. I was almost finished welding this entire floor. I just need to finish up right there a bit, and as well fully weld that piece right there. The wiring is almost done. As you can see, all of the ECUs are done. I ran out of bolts, so I'm going to have to get some more. But meanwhile, while I was welding this floor, the car did actually catch on fire, which is like a really bad thing, right? But the first time it caught on fire, I did extinguish it. It was just the plastic underneath the car that I didn't remove. And instead of fully removing it, I just left it there and continued welding, and then the car started catching on fire, and bad things started to happen. The two things that happened is, one, the sway bar bushing melted, so I'm going to have to get a new pair. And as well, the O2 sensor. The O2 sensor didn't really melt, it's just the plug melted, so I'll still have to get a new one and solder in, either from a junkyard or whatever. The fireman did have to come. They extinguished the fire. They put water on my car right here, so I cleaned everything up, as well as coated this floor right here so it doesn't rust anymore. As you can see with this one right here, it is, I mean, it's just surface rust. I'll be able to sand it off and paint it later on, but it's still kind of, you know, a mess. But either way, as you can see, the wiring is pretty much almost complete. Just need to wait for this dash bar to dry, then paint everything right here. Not everything, just some pieces, just so they don't rust like, well, this floor does. And that's pretty much it. As you can see down here, as you can see, that plastic, it absolutely melted. And I still have just to raise the car back up and fully get rid of it. And there's the O2 sensor that's unusable. Now, I will conclude this video up just so I can analyze things, finish things off, and stuff like that. The third video that I will be doing on this project right here will just be putting things up. Everything's already painted, it's just drying up and need to install. This will sort itself out once the dash beam is out, and I'll be able to install where everything is and stuff like that. As well as paint everything. The steering wheel is already complete. The brace is right there. I don't know if you can see it. And yeah, pretty much. But I will be concluding this video. In the part 3, we will be buttoning everything up and finishing everything off. And hopefully the fire didn't cause too much damage and the car will still start. But thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you in part 3 of this series. Bye.